Hi, this is my first video, obviously. I'm basically just making it because I'm so wound up with Creationists and Christians, Muslims, that whole branch of people. That's probably really offensive, so, well, I don't care. But yeah, it's just willful ignorance, people just choosing what they want to see in real life. They start off, they listen to what they've been told, and then they look for things to justify it. It's like me saying, I believe that there's a giant boomerang in this room here right now, and now I'm going to look for evidence to prove it, and anything that doesn't go with that I'm just going to ignore or try and disprove with really warped, strange science. Whereas atheists look at the world sort of starting with a blank sheet and from there try and fill it in with knowledge and that kind of thing. Yeah, but what I like the most is Christians who claim that the Earth is only 6,000 years old, because those are the easiest people to argue with. They are really easy. There's no limit to how easy they are. This is one guy called Voted for Bush. I've been debating him. Well, he's been asking me questions, I've been answering them, and he hasn't got back to me yet. I don't know what that means. Probably he hasn't got an answer. So one of these questions that he asked me was, so there's some 400 Neanderthals found has to be another species. They can't just be really old humans. People in the pre-flood Old Testament of the Bible lived 900 plus years. Open your mind to that. Yes. You see, my problem with that is you're saying that evolution didn't happen, but these people, the Neanderthals, their skulls are really quite different to ours. They're much bigger. They're physically quite different. They're much stockier, more muscular people. And apparently we're descended from the survivors of the flood. About 8 people apparently, according to the Bible, were saved, which means that we would be the same had no evolution taken place as them. Which is, of course, not what's happened. We're completely different to the Neanderthals. Well, we're not completely different, but we're dissimilar enough to be completely dissimilar if no evolution took place. But we're not descended from Neanderthals, but Paul Voted for Bush doesn't know that. He's just an American Christian who would have voted for Bush, so we have to make allowances. Voted for Bush goes on to claim that the Cambrian explosion is strong evidence for creationism, and that a 6,000-year-old Earth. That's pitiful, frankly. That's absolutely pitiful, because the Cambrian explosion took place about 530 million years ago, and that's a bit older than 6,000 years ago, but he might not be too into science, so he probably doesn't know his stuff when it comes to that. So I'll pretend that that bit makes sense by coming up with his explanation. The fossil record is so full of holes it is laughable. There are no undisputed fossils that are pre-Cambrian, so the Cambrian explosion is strong evidence for creationism. Carbon dating is a whole different controversy. Yes, it's not relevant though. Carbon dating has got nothing to do with the dating of the Cambrian explosion. Because we don't use carbon dating for anything older than 50,000 years old. We use argon dating because carbon dating isn't reliable beyond 50,000 years. So he's probably trying to point out that carbon dating is completely useless, but that doesn't matter. But he doesn't know his stuff, so what he thinks doesn't matter too much either. Yes, there are no undisputed fossils that are pre-Cambrian. The Cambrian explosion, 530 million years ago, is a very long time. Yes, he says there are no undisputed fossils that are pre-Cambrian. Well, picture 1,000,000 years, times it by 530. That's a very long time. It's not very easy to make a fossil. Fossils are actually quite hard to make, and when they're 530 million years old, that's a very long time. Prior to the Cambrian explosion, most life forms were actually single-celled. So, are you expecting a single-celled fossil? A single-celled fossil? Are you off your head? But your whole... you just worry me. You just... have they let you out of school? Bad, man. You're bad news. Yeah, he also says there are no transitional fossils. I recall several, by which I mean Australopithecus africanus, Australopithecus afarensis, Australopithecus, all of them, Homo habilis, Homo agaster, Ardipithecus ramidus. Those are just the human ones. But basically his whole argument is flawed anyway, because the Cambrian explosion, we only know about it because of the fossil record. Now he's attacking the fossil record at the same time as using it to justify his argument. So his argument just falls flat on its face. But you'd expect that because he's a creationist. But one of the most disturbing things in his comment, or message actually, it was a message, for some reason he couldn't comment on my page. I don't know if that happened to me on his page as well, I don't know what that is. Yes, he says, also, since humans have evolved in different regions, there are races that have evolved differently, but we can't say that because that would be racist. So evolution is racist in a funny sort of way. No, it isn't. It just isn't. How? Because there are differences between people, that's obvious. Evolution accounts for that, but it would be racist if I said white people are better than black people. But I'm not. I'm just saying there are white people, there are black people, and this is why. That's not racist. And you're just an idiot to suggest otherwise. Oh my god. Ironic. In response to me saying that the church and Christianity and religion generally tells us not to question things, he says the Bible doesn't say don't question things, and questioning isn't sinful necessarily. It depends on what is questioned. Yes, it does. I mean, if I questioned evolution, I doubt that would be a sin. If I question something in the Bible, I'm pretty sure that will be sinful. If I question whether God exists, I'm pretty sure that's a sin. So, yes, it does. You're right, it does depend on what is questioned. I couldn't agree more. The church isn't always right. Look at the Inquisition. I have. The Bible, however, is what to go by. Which bits of the Bible do we go by?